I've checked how much we're allowed to say because there's limitation. But we've just done a film together, and it's the new Guy Ritchie Knights of the Round Table, and it was amusing because I'd done a few days on set, and I didn't realise that you were in it for some reason. So when you first walked past and said, introduce yourself, I didn't really introduce myself. So I came and found you later because I'm a fan of a lot of the stuff you've been in, and we'll talk about all of that. And I kind of chased after you later to introduce because I was hugely embarrassed of the fact that you went, all right, I'm Neil. And I just kind of went, all right. And I didn't introduce myself, so I was like,
is that how you are with people then? You don't know them? Because I didn't. I have to say, sorry to correct myself.
Because I was a bit confused.
I didn't notice that you were particularly impolite or anything, so that hadn't registered. So I'd just like to say it wasn't that you were in any way rude.
No, that's exactly. I'd normally, and again, I pride myself on manners and things like that, and introducing myself. But it's because I was a bit shocked and starstruck.
It's overwhelming.
I was like, oh right.
The environment with all the trailers and the on that job especially,
it's mad, isn't it?
There are sets like the size of like the Emirates,
huge, ridiculous sets.
Everything's around, and even just stepping out of like the car in the morning with 25 other, this fleet of Jaguars and Mercedes and like 30 trailers and 50 people running about with medieval costumes and stuff. Yeah, I do understand how you can be a bit like, hello mate,
hello, all right, what's going on?
Who's this other person? So no, I didn't take it personally at all.
But yeah, we had a good chat there in the end, and we only had one scene together. But again, it was nice to hang about. Again, apparently we can't go into too much detail. I've basically been told that we can say that we're both in it. Okay. Essentially, that's about it. But I do want to say, because it's something that didn't make it in before we shot, we had about 15 minutes of you, me and Guy and a couple of others and Charlie and a few others just all riffing on the most ridiculous idea for a scene about someone's mum's birthday. I never went anywhere, but we were in tears of laughter.
I honestly couldn't believe that I was managing to keep that, like that might ever be in the scene for as long as I did. Because it hit my funny bone so hard very early on when it was first mentioned. Anyway, we can't. It'll be boring.
We can't go into great detail on that. Sure. But let's talk. I mean, that was my first kind of experience of acting, of these big sets, of everything like that. So I've never done that. So it's
on that scale, the same for me.
But what was your first experience of getting into acting in general?
Well, I started really like I did a thing at school. I do like a poem or something when I was about 7, and I think that, and then you enjoy that performing, I suppose. And then my dad, who's a spark, my dad, and he worked at London Weekend Television, but doing the lighting, they don't have a lot of influence over the acting in general. So although people do ask me that, they'll say, "Oh, did you get into it through your dad?" I'm like, "How often do you think he can ring up a casting director?" One of the sparks. But
I'd love that if they're struggling on the scene and one of the sparks goes, "I tell you what you're missing.
You need another actor.
My son's good."
But yeah, he did that. But a mate of his, Mickey Frau, who actually was working on Arthur as well, just as a rigging spark. I'm sure I'm allowed to say that. His partner Cindy Callahan said, "Well, if you want him to do a bit of acting, there's a place in Islington." Because a lot of, there was already, I think, like a few sort of stage schools, Sylvia Young's and stuff, but they were all paying kind of, kind of a lot of money a term and stuff. And she said there's a place in Islington that's got a really good reputation. There's a charity called Anna Shears, which was 50p a week at the time. And it was a community theatre first, actually. So of an evening on a Monday and a Wednesday was like 7 to 16-year-olds across 2 or 3 classes of an evening as well, not in school time. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays was adult groups going from 16 up to 50, 60. There were just local people who went there.
Yeah, amazing.
And pay 50p a week to do a bit of improvisation.
I love that. And then, I love that price point as well. It feels almost that kind of, we've got to take something.
I think when I stopped going to classes there, which was when I was about 20, I think, or 21, it was only a £5 then. Sort of 10 years later. I mean, I know that's kind of goes up a lot, but in terms of like having a place in Islington to keep running, it's gone up a lot more, I would say, than 10 times in that time. So I went there, and then what they used to do was if they sort of thought they might be able to get you a bit of work, and you weren't allowed to do advertising till you're over 16. You could only do sort of telly and theatre and film. It was, again, a really good ethos. They weren't sort of riding you for the money, and because it was a charity, there was no sort of impetus to get profit.
Yeah, no incentive there to go, right, just take any job, take this. They're trying to...
I mean, really, she's an amazing woman, Anna. She founded that theatre.
I love that, because it's such a rare thing now. I think it's interesting in our current society how being famous is a genuine goal rather than just being really good at something and that bringing that, if you know what I mean. I think it's a weird thing, and it's nice to hear something like that. I'm sure every actor there would dream of being in Hollywood or being huge, but by being good at what they do, rather than now you just have that thing of I want to be famous somehow. In a lot of the
she
youth,
was very anti that, and obviously there was kids. A lot of kids was in Grange Hill or were in EastEnders from young, and they still had to come to classes. That was one of the rules, and they could get sort of dropped off the books and stuff if they didn't still attend class.
That's great. And, again, that if you get your break, it's like, right, you've not.
But
this is the start. You've not made
stars.
It now.
There are no stars, and no one was treated any differently, and there was a real communal and community spirit in the place.
This piece of fiction is the intro to Distraction Pieces. This piece of fiction is the intro to Distraction Pieces. This piece of